Hello and good morning. My name is LaQuinta Jones, and I'm one of the lead payer play administrative coordinators for the Housing Community Development Department. Today, I will be discussing the payer play requirements for both current and future projects. Kanisha London serves as our Deputy Director for the Compliance and Grants Administration Division. Krista Boyce is our Compliance Manager for Contract Compliance. Krista oversees and leads a team of professionals responsible for administering affordable rental housing compliance. The Minority Women Owned Small Business Enterprise, also known as MWSBE, and the Pay Your Play program. Lakeisha Tate is our staff analyst for our pre-award services. Due to recent organizational changes, we now have a broad team of POP members that will be happy to assist you with your POP compliance needs. Our top team is a group of professionals responsible for overseeing contracts to ensure POP compliance on all HCD projects in compliance with Executive Order 1-7 and under the supervision of Crystal. If you have any questions or concerns regarding POP compliance requirements and your POP officer is not available that is monitoring your project, please contact either myself or Crystal Boyce. Our contact information will be available for you in the chat box. During this presentation, we will cover the following topics: POP program overview, POP program definitions, POP program requirements, POP submissions in B2G, final POP compliance review, POP frequently asked questions, and additional resources. The Office of Business Opportunity has citywide administrative oversight of the Pay or Play program. The Housing Community Development Department directly manages contracts compliance with POP regulations in compliance with Executive Order 1-7. The City of Houston Pay or Play program was established in July of 2007 with Ordinance Number 2007-534 and is governed by Executive Order 1-7. The POP program was created to level the playing field during the bid process for vendors at the cost of providing healthcare insurance or failure to provide insurance to employees may influence the vendors' bids for City of Houston work. Furthermore, the POP program aims to offset the cost of caring for Houston and Harris County uninsured residents. The POP program requires for city contractors to either contribute a prescribed amount to Contract Responsibilities Fund or uninsured employees, or provide minimum level of healthcare coverage to their employees. For more information regarding this, please see Executive Order 1-7. At this time, we'll be reviewing the POP definitions. The Pay or Play program is applicable to contractors whose contracts are valued at $100,000 or more for prime contractors and $200,000 or more for subcontractors. This includes professional service, construction, and service type agreements, along with on-call work order, job order solicitation. This includes contingency, amendments, supplemental terms, and/or change orders equal to or exceeding the above amounts. If a subcontractor's original contract was below $200,000 threshold, but at a later time meets or exceeds this amount, whether through contract adjustments or payments received, then they will be subject to POP applicable requirements. Please be advised the prime contractor is responsible to the City of Houston for compliance of covered employees and of their covered subcontractors. The POP program does not apply to the following type of contracts: contracts where 51% or more of the primary purpose is for procurement or purchasing property, leases, goods, supplies, or equipment. Intergovernmental contracts, interlocal agreements, or bulk purchasing. Contracts for which the city has not expended funds, regardless of the funding source. Contracts with an approved POP 4 exemption form from the Office of Business Opportunity that meet the criteria in Executive Order 1-7 that was attained prior to the contract being awarded approval. Contractors who utilize self-employed owner-operated individuals for services such as truck driving, day labor, or 1099 independent contractors would also fall under this category. Please be advised that contractors that are utilizing 1099 independent contractors are required to notify the POP compliance officer, as additional information will be required to be submitted for review and approval. The Pay or Play program covers employees include all employees of a covered contractor or subcontractor, whether they are working on site or in the office. This also includes contract labor, individuals that are over the age of 18, any employee that works at least 30 hours per week with any amount of time spent on the City of Houston covered contract or subcontract. This also applies to Section 3 employees on DR-17 projects. All active and covered employees, again, including exempt staff, will be required to be listed in B2G on the workforce employee list. Before the pre-construction meeting, all completed POP 1, 2, and 3 forms from the prime contractor must be submitted. Additionally, all POP applicable contractors and subcontractors that meet the POP requirements are required to submit these necessary documentation. Those forms are the POP 1 form, which is the POP acknowledgement form, the POP 2 form, which is a certification of compliance form. This form is the form where you would choose your option to participate as a pay or play elect contractor. The POP 3 form, which is required from the prime contractor and any subcontractor that meets the POP requirements that has a lower tier 2 subcontractor. The POP 3 form is for you to list all of your participant subcontractors performing work on the project. This also includes any consultants working on the project. The B2G Now Access form is a form utilized by our office to determine who will be responsible for submitting POP compliance workforce audit requirements in the B2G Now database, which this form is very critical because B2G Now utilizes login credentials that is subject to that specific person. All contractors will be given access to LCP Tracker, which is another database, after the pre-construction meeting, and are required to upload their POP 1 through 3 documents into the POP documents folder in LCP Tracker. Contractors are required to begin working and complying on the project within 30 days of their start of work date. Also, please be advised a new POP 3 form must be submitted each time a new subcontractor is added to the project by the prime contractor or any subcontractor that meet or exceed those thresholds. This is an example of how the POP 2 form looks, which this is the form again that must be submitted by both the prime and POP applicable subcontractor. On this form, the subcontractor and prime contractor must choose one of the options in the middle by either selecting pay, play, or both. In the top, it does give you a brief description of what those mean. And please be advised, you also have the option to participate as both, meaning you're going to participate as both pay and play. We do have some contractors that provide healthcare insurance for some of their office staff, but their on-site staff are not provided healthcare insurance. So that's when this would come into play, where they would select both. At the bottom portion of the form is where you would submit in the estimated number of employees that you believe will be working on your contract for both the prime and the subcontractor. And you will sign this document and submit this in as well. Okay, now we're going to discuss the POP program requirements. Contractors who have elected to participate as a pay contractor must contribute $1 per hour for each covered employee working on a POP applicable project. The maximum amount per week billed per employee per week is $40 by the end of each month. So in workforce reporting, the contractor must enter both the following for each employee that's covered working on the project: the total hours worked, which equate to all hours worked for the contractor, meaning your company, for that week. The hours worked will be the hours worked specifically on the City of Houston specific contract. Both of those columns must be completed. Any incomplete fields will result in the workforce audit being rejected. Billing for the workforce audits. We bill on a monthly basis for the invoices for the workforce audits, and those are generated based off of the weekly workforce audits that you, the contractor, submit into the B2G Now system. Payments are made through Paymentus, which is integrated into B2G, and payments must be made in full. Partial payments are not accepted. Payments are due to the Housing Community Development Department within 30 days of receiving the invoice. Please be advised that if you are participating in any DBRA or projects, or even if you are not, we may request certified payroll or timesheets to verify the hours that are reported for your pay employees. So here's an example of a pay versus play for covered employees. Number one, we have a covered employee that is not offered POP applicable healthcare benefits. John is a covered employee who is not offered POP benefits. The employer must submit weekly pay submissions by entering John's total hours and hours worked into the B2G Now database under the workforce audit list each week. Number two, covered employee with insurance through a spouse. John is a covered employee, has health insurance through his spouse. This employee must submit a completed and notarized POP 8 form along with proof of healthcare insurance via email to the POP coordinator for review and approval. Number three, a covered employee who accepts POP healthcare benefits. John is a covered employee who has accepted the POP benefits offered to him by his employer. John would be classified as a play employee, not a pay employee, and hourly submissions are not required for John. This is a glimpse of what you would see in the B2G Now database when entering your hours in for your employees labeled as pay. We will go over this more in detail later in the presentation. Now I'm going to discuss what it means to be a play participant. Play elect contractors who choose to participate as a play elect will participate by providing acceptable documentation, proof of healthcare documentation for all covered employees. To qualify, the healthcare plan must meet the following requirements. The employer must pay at least 75% of the monthly premium per month for a single covered employee, and the employee may pay no more than 25% on the monthly premium. Contractors may be asked to submit a verification documentation, such as the play eligibility verification form, along with a copy of your current pre-printed health benefit program employee guide. This is the guide that's given to your employees upon hire, so they will be notified on how much they will be paying on a monthly basis for their healthcare insurance. Please note this important note. If requirements are not met to participate as a play elect contractor, the contractor will be reclassified as pay. Again, HCD may request for verification, including the verification eligibility form, along with your company's benefit package. Insurance cards are not accepted as proof of healthcare insurance for quarterly submissions. What is not required? Play contractors and subcontractors do not need to enter their workforce hours into B2G. For additional information or additional details regarding this, please refer to the POP frequently asked questions for more information. The Play Elect participants are required to report on a quarterly basis for their workforce audit submissions. These are due by the end of the following months. The first quarter ends in the month of March, and those quarterly audits will be due by April 30th. The second quarter ends at the month of June of each year, and then that will be required submission by July 31st. The third quarter months end in September. The required submission will be due by October 31st, and the fourth quarter month submission, which ends in December of each year, will be required to be submitted by January 31st of the following year. The documents that will need to be submitted for the Play quarterly workforce audit submission are as follows. The Play contractor will complete a quarterly workforce audit Play form, which is called a POP 7 form. This form will be uploaded into the B2G Now database, and it is to ensure that it lists all active and covered employees working on the project. Again, this does include office staff that are working on the project, as well as on-site staff. Along with this POP 7 form, you are required to submit your supporting company healthcare documentation, such as the insurance summaries and invoices. Please be advised that the summary is the document that shows the employees' names, the cost of the coverage for each employee, and coverage details for 3 months in each quarter. So the 3 months in each quarter will be required. These submission requirements are required to be uploaded into the B2G Now database to be considered complete and for us to approve it. We're not able to approve this information if it's uploaded into any other database, such as LCP Tracker. Again, insurance cards are not accepted as proof of healthcare insurance coverage for quarterly audit submissions. So this screen shows what a contractor will look like who was selected to participate as a Play contractor. We'll go over this a little bit more in detail later in the presentation as well. Here's an example of the quarterly POP 7 form used to report the healthcare insurance. This form, along with your proof of healthcare insurance, invoices, and healthcare summaries, will be uploaded into B2G. You must fill out the top section of the information for your organization. You are not required to complete or enter the group or payer ID number. However, all other areas must be completed. Please ensure to list all of your active employees, both on-site and in office, who are working on this project. Again, you do not need to include the insurance ID number. If at any time you have a new employee that started during the quarter after your project has started, please ensure that you check the box that says new. Please ensure that you include the insurance monthly premium for both the employer and the employee, as well as the benefit coverage begin and end date for the year. Failure to do that will cause your form to be rejected. So an employee may be considered exempt if a covered employee has acquired healthcare coverage on their own, or if they have refused POP applicable healthcare coverage through their employer for one of the following conditions. The employee is under the age of 18. The employee has healthcare insurance coverage through a spouse, Medicaid, or Medicare, and proof of coverage is required, such as the front and back of their healthcare insurance card. The employee declines the company's healthcare insurance that meets the City of Houston's POP requirements. And the contractor will be required to submit an exemption form for that employee, which will be a notarized POP 8 employee waiver form. The form will be emailed into your POP administrative coordinator for review and approval. An employee is not considered to be exempt unless they have an approved OBO approved POP 8 waiver form on file. Please be advised, if you upload this document into any system and it has not been approved, then that does not mean that that person is approved. And we will not be notified that you submitted the form if it's not mailed into your POP coordinator. Please note that approved POP 8 forms are only valid for 1 year from the date of approval, and contractors must resubmit a waiver annually for each year the contract continues to be active and that employee continues to work on the POP applicable contract. Here's an example of the POP 8 exemption waiver form. Again, employees who qualify must complete this form. At the top portion of the form, this is the form to be completed by the office staff of the contractor. This middle area is the form where the employee is required to submit the information in their own handwriting. If an employee denies coverage for any reason, for any of the reasons, you will select that box. But please be advised, if they select box 4, they must be able to provide a clear and reasonable explanation on this line, providing why they deny coverage. Simply writing the word no or I decline without an explanation will result in the form being rejected. Additionally, if an employee denies coverage, they must list the financial contribution amount in the area selected on the form for a paid single employee. All Prop 8 forms must include the original signature and date of each person. Typed dates and signatures will be rejected unless completed utilizing a DocuSign or electrical signing format. And that must be discussed with your POP administrator before submitting that form. Any forms amended or completed on another person's behalf will also be rejected. Please ensure that all employees have completed this form correctly before sending it to your POP administrator for review. We are aware that some contractors utilize self-insured insurance. So contractors may request for a POP non-self-insured contract request form to be emailed to them if they are utilizing self-insured insurance. This is for an employer who uses their own money to cover their employees' claims. And again, this form is only available on request. The POP non-self-insured contract request and all of the requirement documents must be emailed back to the POP administrative coordinator for review and approval. Contractors awarded self-insured status will be classified as a play-elect participant and are required to report once a year. They are also required to list all of their applicant and covered employees into the B2G Now database as well. To qualify as a self-insured, a contractor must have an approved OBO POP non form on file. Contractors are required to upload a copy of the approved file into the LCP tracker database once it has been received back to them. Again, approved POP non form remain valid for 1 year from the date of approval. However, they must resubmit on an annual basis for each year your company continues to work on a POP applicable contract. Okay, now we're going to go into the POP submissions into B2G. The B2G Now is the pay-or-play management system. This is the system where all POP workforce audit submissions are sent. All POP 7 and supporting documents will be submitted through this database on a quarterly basis. All paid weekly workforce audits are required to be submitted into the B2G Now database for review and approval through the online workforce utilization model. After the workforce audits are received and approved, the POP administrator will on a monthly basis generate the invoice and distribute to the contractor or subcontractor via email. Utilize the payments portal system through B2G to pay all of your invoices. Again, partial payments for POP workforce audits are not accepted and invoices must be paid in full. Here is a copy of the link to the B2G Now database. Okay, now we're diving into the B2G Now overview. This will be discussed such as the viewing of the POP contracts in B2G, adding employees into B2G, assigning employees to a contract, submitting weekly workforce audits for pay contractors, filling in the weekly workforce hours, saving and certifying those audits, submitting your quarterly workforce audits for play-elect contractors, and uploading and attaching documents for your play audits. For more information, you'll be able to see the POP workforce FAQs for more information. Okay, when you first log into the B2G Now database, you will be taken to the main screen, which is also known as your dashboard. To view your HCD POP contract, you will go to the dashboard and you can select the contract tab, either on the main screen or to the left-hand side of the menu. Under the search tab, you will select search and it will drop down this tab, and you can also select contracts here as well. Once you have selected that contract, the contract either here or here, it will take you to the next screen. This is the screen where you will see all of your contracts. On this page, it's only showing one contract, but if you have multiple contracts with the City of Houston, it will show that list. You will select view next to the contract for which you wish to view for your POP submission or workforce audits. After clicking view for the relevant contract, you will be taken to the contract management screen. There will be several tabs at the top of the screen with 4 dedicated to the pay or play program. All employees who will be working on the contract must first be entered into the B2G Now database before you're able to submit any workforce audits. To do so, go to the Workforce Employee List tab at the top of the screen. Once you've selected this tab, it will open up and you will see a button on the top that says Manage Employees. This is the screen you will go to if you need to examine, update, or add any new employees to your POP applicable contract that you will be adding to your Workforce Employee List. After you've selected the Manage Employee tab, you're now able to add your employees. You'll be taken to the Employee List page. On this page, you will select Add Employee in the upper right-hand corner. Remember to include all of your active and covered employees working on the POP applicable project to your Workforce Employee List. Again, this includes office staff, superintendents, project managers, on-site supervisors, and so on and so forth. To ensure consistency, workforce audits, all B2G users are required to use their own individual login credentials when completing workforce audits and to prevent unauthorized access. Once you've selected the Add Employee tab, you will be redirected to the Vendor Profile Edit Employee page. Here's where you will add your employees to the workforce, to the list. You will fill in each section marked with an asterisk. You are not required to complete any other sections on this form. It is critical that all employees working on all HCD projects utilize their legal government names, such as first and last, which should match the names in your payroll system, including LCP Tracker, B2G, and any other reporting database, and any sign-in sheets. This practice helps avoid the use of any nicknames. After entering your employees' names, you will select the Yes button to indicate that they are an active employee and select Save to store the information. Alternatively, you can also select Save and Add New to add another employee. Once you have added your last active employee, click the Save and Return button to go back to the employee list. After you have added all of your employees to the employee list, you will now need to assign them to your specific contract. You will do so by selecting the Assign Employee to Contract button at the top of the page. If you do not see any of the employee that you're looking for, an employee is missing, you would have to add that person to the list. By doing so, you would again click the Add Employee button to add them and follow the previous steps that we just discussed. Now to assign the employee to the contract, again, you will select the Assign Employee to Contract tab. It will take you to the page where you're able to assign your employees. On this page, the first box that you see will actually be a drop down. It gives you the option to select either one employee or multiple employees. Once you've selected that employee, you must select the craft for each employee, which is in the second box. The craft consists of pay, play, or exempt. And you must enter in the start date for the project. Please be advised the start date for the project is not necessarily the date that the project started. It is the date that the employee actively started working on this project. You will need to mark the employee as active by selecting the Yes button underneath the second box. This box here is in the event an employee stops working on the project. Please complete the relevant information. And if you have any comments that you would like to make regarding that employee, then you could put that information in the comment box. Once you've uploaded all of the information, you will click Save to add all the employees to the contract. Now we're going to discuss how to submit your pay workforce audits. Again, we have 4 tabs designated for Pay or Play at the top of the screen. You will select the list that says Workforce Audit List to submit your weekly workforce audits. To submit your POP workforce audits, once you've clicked this list, you will be taken to the Workforce Audit List page. You will see a list of dates for the end and beginning of each week. Please be advised that these dates cannot be altered. We do understand that contractors' work may have a different pay week for each week. If you are reporting for certified payroll with DBRA, we do ask for you to utilize your payroll numbers to coincide with each week so that we can ensure that we are monitoring the correct week for the hours. If you are not subject to DBRA, we do ask for you to upload your timesheets to each weekly workforce audit in the attachment box that's enclosed. So next to the week that you want to submit your audit, you will select the View button. If the View button is not available, you are able to click the Add Audit tab to add your audit for that week. The View button will then appear alongside the week that you are looking for the information. Pay vendors must submit weekly updates throughout the life of the project. As mentioned, play vendors do not have healthcare insurance that meet the POP requirements, and they are required to report the hours. If you see a red line with the word incomplete, it means you have not submitted your weekly workforce audit for that week. To open the audit and to complete the audit, you would simply select View next to the week that you want to report. Once you've selected the View button, you will be redirected to the workforce audit for that week. To fill in the audit, you must select the Fill in Audit option. Your employees, if this is your first time submitting an audit, the employees will be listed and visible. However, they will be grayed out like the bottom person. In order to add that person or those people to the audit, if you're doing it individually, you will select the Add to Audit List hyperlink on the right. If you would like to add everyone to the audit, you would select the tab that says Add all employees to the audit. Once you've made that selection, then they will appear with a white background and they will be added to the audit. Once you've selected the Fill in Audit button, it will open the audit up completely. Pay vendors should enter in both the total hours, which again are the hours that the employee worked for your company, and the hours worked, which are the hours that are applicable to this specific project that you're working on. Both columns must be completed, while the hours column must be completed as well. As you can see in this example, there are different hours listed. So if your employer worked 40 hours per week for your company, 40 hours will go in the first column. If they worked 40 hours or more, or even less, that will go into the second column. If there was no work performed during that week, you would select the no work box at the top. This is the box also where you will put your payroll week. Your final week of reporting your hours, you will select the final box. This will notify the POP administrator that this is your last week of working on the project and for them to know to finalize out your project. Once you've entered in all of this information, if you have any notes as to why someone may have shorter hours or they may not be listed with any hours, you can make those notes in the box, and then you will select Review at the bottom. After you've selected Review, you will be taken to the Review Audit page. If you need to return at a later time, you will simply select Save and Certify Later. This is in the event you need to come back and enter in any additional information or add any additional employees. If you're ready to proceed, you can click the Save and Certify button. Again, if you need to make any edits, please utilize the Edit button. Once you've clicked the Save and Certify, you're taken to the next page. On this page, this is where you will enter in your name as the person that's submitting the audit and any notes in the bottom that are relevant. You will then again select the Review button here at the bottom and save. Once you've done that, it will take you to the final page for you to review the information. You will select the box right here stating that you certify the information. You will either select Certify and Release to Organization Now, and that will push the audit through to us. Now we're going to be discussing the place submissions. For the place submissions, we previously went through on how to add your employees to the workforce employee list. This is that list. On this list, as you can see, it has the list of all employees assigned to the project. There are some listed as pay, play, and there are some listed as exempt. Right now, we're just focusing on the play elect participants or employees. To upload your play submission, you will select the Manage Craft Review at the bottom of the page. Once you've selected that, you will then redirected to another window. You will then see all of your active play and exempt employee working on the project. Please be advised that you should only choose your employees who are actively working on the project in the last 3 months that are working on the project. If you have any previously approved POP exempt employees, please make sure to unselect them. If you keep them selected, once we verify the information, once you submit your upload, it will kick out their approval. You may also make comments in the comments section regarding information that we may need to be aware of. In order to select the files to upload, you will select the Choose File button. Once you've selected that button, a small window will open up. This is the window that you will utilize to attach your documents. Please attach and upload in bulk your completed POP 7 form, which again includes all of your active and covered employees working on site or in the office who have worked on the project during the last 3 months of the quarter. as well as proof of their healthcare insurance, which is the insurance summary and invoices. Please be advised that we are aware that sometimes you may upload more than one attachment. If that is the case, we do ask for you to hold down the shift key when you're selecting more than one item to attach. As you can see on here, there are 2 items selected. Please be advised that if you select one item and try to upload it and come back and try to upload another item, it will kick out your first item that you tried to upload. So that is why we're asking you to please make sure you hold down the shift button when uploading multiple documents. Once you've ensure that you selected those items, you will select the open button on your box. That box will then disappear. And as you can see right here, it shows that 2 files were attached. If for any reason you do not see the number of files that you are trying to attach, that means that it was not attached correctly, and you would have to hold down the shift button. We do ask you to please make sure you specify which quarter you are uploading in the comments section. For instance, this one says first quarter of 2023. Once you've done that, please select the box at the bottom and then click the Save and Review. Once you select the Save and Review, at the top of the page, a window will appear and it's asking you, are you sure you want to save and update the records? You will select OK. The following screen will appear with the green box at the top that says that the selected craft reviews have been uploaded successfully. To exit, click the X next to the double X head at the top in the upper right-hand corner. Once you've selected that, a confirmation page again will appear asking you, are you sure you want to close out without saving? Because you received confirmation on your previous page to confirm that the information was saved successfully, you'll simply select OK. This is what your POP coordinator will see when they reviewing your audit. As you can see, the 2 documents that were attached are visible. And again, it's still showing here that this person is pending. Every month by the 5th business day, a compliance status report is submitted to the prime contractor. This is to notify the prime contractor of non-compliance, pending, and compliant items. We require that the prime contractor emails back a copy of the compliance status report with their notes indicating what has been done for that type of non-compliant item, whether it's been resolved, if they're working on it, and things of that nature. To prevent any misunderstandings, miscommunication, we request that each contractor contact their POP administrative coordinator directly for POP-related issues or inquiries, such as rejecting workforce audits, addressing questions or concerns, submitting documentation, and providing payment confirmations. To avoid delays in payment draw requests, we ask that you please resolve all outstanding item issues as soon as possible to bring your contract into POP compliance. If payment draws are requested or hasn't already been submitted, it may be held due to outstanding non-compliance items unresolved. Now we'll be discussing the final POP compliance review. For the final POP compliance review, we would like to ensure full compliance with POP regulations for the final POP review for all projects, and you are required to submit the following. All POP forms, such as the POP 1, 2, and 3 form, the B2G not access form, must be uploaded into LCP Tracker under the POP documents category. All POP approved forms, if applicable, such as the POP 8 and POP 9 form, any approved notification regarding 1099 independent contractors must be uploaded into LCP Tracker as well. Any notices, we want to ensure that all contracts upload their start of work notice, termination of work notice, and any applicable work on hold notices into LCP Tracker under the shared compliance category. The PLAY workforce audits, such as your PLAY quarterly audits, they must be all uploaded into B2G from the cover period from your start of work date to the termination of work date and approved by the POP coordinator. Your pay weekly workforce audits must all be submitted and approved, ensuring that your final week is marked as final. Invoice completion. We must verify that all pay invoices are paid in full by all pay contractors that perform work on the project. We are not able to close out a project if there are any outstanding paid workforce invoices open. Additional documents. Providing any information requested by the POP administrator for verification or clarification purposes related to the contract, such as letter of explanation, check stub, notarized statements, or any type of termination of work letter for identified employees. Failure to meet these POP requirements and provide necessary documentations will result in retainage payments being withheld until the contract achieves full compliance with POP regulations. Now let's look into some frequently asked questions related to POP. The first frequently asked question is, are only employees working on the job site required to be listed on the workforce employee list? No, all employees who work on the city contract that is POP applicable, whether on-site or in the office, must be included on the workforce employee list and accounted for during the audits of the project. Number 2, my employee has his or her own insurance and my company does not pay for it. Does this mean he or she must submit a notarized POP 8 form for exemption? Yes, it does. You must submit a completed and notarized POP 8 form along with proof of healthcare insurance. This is the only time a copy of the employee's insurance card will be accepted. Employee, please ensure that you email this form along with the proof of healthcare insurance to the POP administrator for review and approval. Number 3, I'm a subcontractor on a City of Houston POP contract, and my contract ended before the prime contractor finishes the job. Do I still have to submit POP submissions? No. We already asking that you to upload your termination of work notice into LCP tracker with the date that you concluded working on the project and submit your final audit in the B2G Now database for your workforce audit week or for the last quarter that you worked. Number 4, are subcontractors required to comply with the POP program if they are not MWSBE or Section 3? Yes, all subcontractors with professional service, construction, or general service contracts whose contracts meet or exceed the $200,000 threshold are required to comply with POP requirements. Number 5, does any of the workforce invoice payments benefit my company? Unfortunately, they do not. The pay-or-pay payments are deposited into the contract responsibility fund, which shall not be used for any other purpose except to assist and provide healthcare insurance for the uninsured contractors or persons in the Houston area. To learn more about this information, please visit the OBO website. And here's the link located on the screen. Okay, here are some additional resources. As a resource for contractors, we have put together a PDF version of some frequently asked questions, such as where should my POP forms be submitted? How should the POP 8 form be submitted? How do I submit pay or play workforce audits? How do I pay my POP invoices? And a couple of more. If you'd like to request a copy of the frequently asked questions, please send an email to your POP liaison. This concludes the Pay or Pray program presentation. Are there any questions in the chat box that need to be addressed? If there are no further questions, we want to thank you for participating in the Contract Compliance Technical Assistance Training. We hope you found the presentations useful and enlightening. Our main goal was to enhance your understanding of relevant program regulations and standards and to provide you with resources and guidance needed to maintain 100% compliance on all HCD projects throughout the project duration. The training covered many important topics and our presenters did an excellent job sharing their expertise. If you have any questions, please refer to their contact information provided in the chat box. We would also appreciate your valuable feedback to help us plan future technical assistance trainings. I would appreciate if you would please complete the survey link either emailed to you or in the chat box. We will review each survey to ensure future trainings are even more successful. Best of luck to you on your HCD projects. If you need any assistance or have any questions, please again contact your coordinator. Thank you again for participating in the Contract Compliance Technical Assistance Training. Please encourage future contractors, vendors, subcontractors, suppliers, service providers, and compliance consultants working on HCD projects to attend future trainings. Thank you for your time, and I look forward to working with each of you on your HCD project. Best of luck and have a great day.